I'm sorry, Professor Arnold, but I still don't understand. What is wrong with Twilight again?
There is nothing wrong with it per se, so long as you do not attempt to call it literature, or tell me that what you are doing with it is something important, like reading.
It's a good story.
Even this claim is highly suspect. But let us focus on the first. There is some redeeming value in the markings on the LCD screen of your Kindle e-reader. We must begin with the concept that not all writing is of equal quality. And if it is not all of equal quality, it follows that not all writing is of equal merit.
Well, everyone has their own opinion.
Each has his or her own opinion, true. But not all opinions are equal, nor do all deserve equal merit. If my opinion is that I should spit on all students who pass my exams, and then I should pee upon those who do not, would you agree?
Well, no, of course not. That wouldn't make sense.
Therefore, you agree that there is something called sense, or reasoning, which renders some opinions less worthy.
I guess so, but literature is all equal. People just have different tastes in art. We're all entitled to our own opinions, you know.
No, you are not, or rather, you are not entitled to announce an opinion you do not plan to defend using reason. Without reasoned opposition, women might still be equal to cattle, the U.S. might still have slaves, and we might still believe the world was flat.
But I'm allowed to believe what I want.
Yes, and the rest of the world is allowed to label you a fool for your failure to defend an opinion. They are allowed to dismiss you from their classrooms and jobs because you do not learn well. There is no such thing as impunity.
What's impunity mean?
Look it up. I'm here to promote your intellectual curiosity, but you must first prove to me that you have some.
You're mean.
No, I am serious, and what we are about is serious, and what we read will be serious, and what we say about it will be high seriousness, and there is little that may be said with seriousness about the writings of Stephanie Meyer, Stephen King, George R.R. Martin, or that song stylist named Jewel.
You were saying that literature must contain an idea of value to be considered literature.
More than that, I said that the important ideas of civilization, the highest ideas of our culture, are carried through our great literature. Imperfect or flawed art, of which examples abound, carried no such ideal.
Well, Twilight has great ideas like choice and betrayal.
Those are not ideas or themes, but merely topics. What is said about these topics? What is the startling and powerful epiphany that we discover from them?
That the choices we make are hard and they have consequences?
This is it? It took 4 large novels of vampire fantasy romance to determine this?
Well, no. There's other stuff, too.
Oh, please include that last sentence in your essay on the subject.
Why are you so mean about it?
Why are you so determined to carry your preteen fantasies into your adult studies? Call Twilight personal entertainment, a pastime, a distraction, or what Socrates called a habit if you wish, but there is nothing enduring about a vapid protagonist who is physically enamored with the undead.
But Oscar Wilde's picture of Dorian Gray is about the supernatural, too.
Actually, it is not. And here, my students, is a key difference between what makes a great work of literature and what is little more than pulp or smut. In literature, the plotting of the story is merely the carriage, the tool, through which the deeper conflicts and themes emerge. In pulp, in reading diversions like what you describe, the plot, the events are the primary focus. In this sense, your Twilight is, by definition, superficial.
I'm getting tired of you bashing my favorite books.
And I tire of your equating your personal feelings with an academic study of art. Literature is not about what you, as a reader, feel. It is not about what you like. but it is a more thoughtful appreciation of the great ideas that art provokes. In Wilde's work, for instance, we explore James Vane's role as conscience, the opium dens and Yellow Book as abandonments of nature, and the homoeroticism of Plato or Michelangelo as statements of the superficiality of society. Dorian abandons everything that composes one's character for his own narcissism and vices. Anything supernatural or religious in the plot is merely an echo of the level of consequence of which Dorian is blind, but Basil sees more clearly. What do we owe humanity and ourselves, apart from the threat of hell itself? What holds us morally accountable? In Twilight, dear, the entire saga wallows in the very superficiality that Wilde condemns in a mere 80 pages, and that Stephanie Meyer does not even seem aware of it. For Meyer, if it sparkles, it is good.
But Twilight is loved by millions, and the movies are popular.
Popularity is not a measure of art, though it may be a measure of our education about literature and art. Peanut butter sandwiches are popular, but they are not art. And don't get me started on Lady Gaga.
When I'm a mother, I'll read these books to my kids. They're just too cool.
I can only imagine how your teen obsessions will be received by your children years later. But at least you have touched upon a primary test about literature. That is, literature demonstrates its power by surviving the test of time. The Great Books Foundation suggests that an author must be dead for 50 years, and if his works are still respected, they may be considered literature. I believe this measure to be somewhat arbitrary, but the concept is sound. Books and poems which fade from appreciation quickly cannot be considered art. Think, for instance, about the music of Boy George, or Dave Matthews, or a movie like Disney's Hercules, or any movie with the word anaconda in the title. We can only hope and predict that our children will never know of them.
You know, I really hate that music called dubstep.
What is important about art, literature, and music is that they have captured and crafted such powerful ideas essential to our humanity, to our understanding of ourselves, that their enduring sustains our very civilization. I very much doubt that dubstep will fulfill these criteria.
Or Twilight, huh?
Be a fan if you wish. Dance to Snoop Dogg or Snoop Lion and line up for remakes of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Be a Doctor Who groupie or even a brony. Just don't expect popular culture to reach a level of literature, and this is what we study here. We read Abbott and Ellison and Shakespeare because their work speaks importance.
Okay. So those writers will endure, and Twilight will vanish like Beavis and Butthead. I get it. But you said that their ideas sustain civilization. Earlier, though, you were saying that we need to consider the historical times of the literature we read. How can it be both? I mean, how can we say we should study literature according to its historical meanings, but also say that those meanings go beyond its history?
Ah, yes, you have discovered Historicism's great paradox. I am afraid that my answer will not satisfy you, but I will proceed nonetheless.
Can you do it with an example?
Of course. It is appropriate, for instance, that when we study Abbott's Flatland, that we consider the various historical conditions which affected his meanings. Attacking the novel for its mathematical failings, for instance, is absurd. Yes, we understand dimensionality now better than he did. Even so, we recognize that the ideas behind those mathematics remain sound. Should our faith in God or our values proceed upon the word of authority or upon our own reason? Moreover, we might consider that Abbott was writing perhaps directly about the Tractarian controversy of his day, his disgust with the Catholic doctrine of credulity. Surely, this motivated his writing and his use of a pen name for the work. But the mathematics, like Wilde's painting or opium dens, are merely props, literary techniques for moving the larger idea forward.
So if we understand that, why read him now? The Tractarian thing is like history now.
Ah, and that is where Abbott's work proves its greatness. On the one hand, we can suspend our present-day judgments against it and even better understand its message by studying its history. But also, we must recognize that the fundamental themes of the work and its artful construction of those themes endure. Where do we accept ideas based upon a politician's word or upon a story read on the Internet? Where, today, do we suspect our reason and even our experience in order to believe a false idea? More, what price are we willing to pay in the face of ignorance, and as individuals can we sustain our own reasoned beliefs without the corroboration of others, or is reason the great religious mystery that haunts our dreams?
You are losing me there.
Have you finished the novel?
Well,
But for now, it is enough to say this of our paradox. Both parts are true, even if they contradict each other. First, literature is a product of history, and we understand it better for knowing that history. Second, literature moves beyond its history to speak to us across time.
so I could say that it is important to understand that Twilight was written during a time when Barnes & Noble carries a wall of books called teen supernatural romance. So she's cashing in on a trend that many other writers did. On the other hand, her powerful theme of undead love will,
You can't finish that sentence, can you? Look, once we have read the plot of Twilight, or Harry Potter, or Percy Jackson, or even Stephen King and Dan Brown and John Green and Robert Ludlum, all of its mysteries are solved. There is nothing more to be discovered. These kinds of books are nothing more than roller coasters. On the good ones, we may wish to ride again, but the experience is the same each time. It can reveal nothing new to us that is important. True, careless readers might have missed some foreshadowing, but that is because they are poor readers, not because the novel is important. Literature offers us new and refined ideas with each new experience. We reread Flatland, or The Bluest Eye, or A Midsummer Night's Dream, because we find a new subtlety of idea that we may consider anew.
What about Lord of the Rings or Peter Pan, then? They have endured.
I leave that for you to debate for now. But what we must understand is that good literature is worthy of serious study, and we, as reader, deserve to learn its ideas. The other readers are isosceles triangles blindly following the latest cool gadget to pop culture tricks, perhaps never fully realizing their own humanity. Stay with us. Study seriously. It will be worth it. What are you reading there?
Hunger Games graphic novel.
Hey, I just got to a new level on Flappy Bird.